Recreation Supervisor with the City of Los Alamitos Recreation and Community Services Department. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do an in-home craft during this quarantine. The craft that we're going to be doing today is a wall-hanging dip dye tapestry. So first we're going to start off by explaining the supplies that you're going to need. For this project, I used 2 bundles of yarn and cut the yarn in advance to the length that I wanted for this project. A pair of scissors, RIT dye in the colors of your choice, a pair of gloves, some flat brushes, a stick or wooden dowel of your choice, and some large pots or buckets. Alright, here I'm going to show you how to begin threading through your yarn. You want to go ahead and make a loop with each string of yarn and then pulling it over the top of the dowel and pulling the yarn through the loop. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the clip here so we can move forward in our project. Here's what your finished product should look like after you've threaded through all of your yarn. Next up, you're going to want to get your dye ready. So you want to make sure to get your water nice and hot, and then you're going to pour in the dye. And this is where you really get your creative freedom. You get to decide how dark you want your dye to be. You also want to make sure that you follow the instructions on the dye bottle. You need to make sure that your water is hot, that you add some vinegar or some salt. And then you'll want to get your yarn wet as well before you dip it into your dye. Otherwise, it just doesn't set as well. So here I am, just wringing out some of the water and bringing it over to my pots. I like to do this in my kitchen just because it's easier for me to do it within my pots, but it is also kind of small, so you do have to evaluate if you're able to fit your dip dye, if you're, all of your yarn into the pot. Here I kind of separated them into 2 bowls so I could maneuver them a little bit easier, and then I just lifted the yarn up and back to see how the color was working. This next color is my navy color. It didn't quite turn out as dark as I wanted it to be. It ended up being this really pretty kind of grayish bluish color. Because the yarn that I was using wasn't 100% wool, so it didn't absorb it as well. But it ended up turning out to be really pretty, and I actually really like the way that it turned out. So here I'm just pouring out my dye, and you want to make sure that every time you dye your yarn that you're rinsing it afterwards before you dip it into your next color. So I went ahead and skipped to the second color here, and I'm just rinsing everything out. And as you can see, a lot of the color is leaving the yarn, but that's because I didn't use a high wool yarn. So just make sure that if you want the color really to stick, that you're using a 100% wool or cotton. Then you're just going to want to wring out all of your dye, rinse out your pots and your pans, and then you're going to want to just hang it up to dry. After you're done hanging up to dry, you're going to want to make sure that you just clip the ends to your liking. And that's about it. There's my finished product. I hope you liked it, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to follow us at Los Al Recreation on our social medias. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.